65 years ago, a pink ruby flashed and a beam was born. Today, that same idea scans groceries, builds microchips, even whispers with black holes. How did a lab curiosity become the backbone of modern life? Tonight, we time travel from Einstein's 1917 spark to kilowatt fibers and femtosecond pulses, from surgery to deep space links worldwide, tracing the tiny steps that snowballed into world-changing leaps. Ready to watch light learn new tricks with us? 1917. The idea before the gadget. Albert Einstein's On the Quantum Theory of Radiation spelled out stimulated emission. If an excited atom is nudged by a photon of just the right color, it can emit a twin photon in lockstep. Pair that with a population inversion, more atoms, excited than relaxed, and mirrors to bounce light back and forth, and amplification becomes inevitable. This was a conceptual seed for every laser to come. Coherence by design, not accident. 1958. The optical maser blueprint. Arthur Schawlow and Charles Townes showed how to build an optical maser. Place a gain medium between highly reflective mirrors to form a resonant cavity, so only specific wavelengths are reinforced. That paper didn't yet choose the winning material, but it nailed the architecture, mirrors, gain, and inversion, and kicked off a global race to make light laze. 1960. First working laser, Ruby. At Hughes Research Laboratories on May 16, 1960, Theodore Maiman pumped a synthetic ruby CR3+ Al2O3 rod with a flash lamp and let a partially silvered mirror leak a burst of deep red light, the first coherent optical beam. Ruby's chromium ions provide the energy levels. Optical pumping builds inversion, the Fabry-Perot cavity picks the line. It was pulsed, brief, and historic, proof that the optical maser worked in the real world. 1960-61. First continuous laser, helium-neon. A few months later at Bell Labs, Ali Javan, William Bennett Jr., and Donald Harriot got a helium-neon gas mix to laze continuously. An electrical discharge excites helium, which transfers energy to neon by collisions, sustaining inversion without flash lamps. Early output was infrared, 1.15 micrometers. The famous 632.8 nanometer red line followed. CW operation meant stable beams for alignment, metrology, and scanning. No more single flashes. 1962. Semiconductor injection lasers. Robert Hall and, for visible output, Nick Holowniak Jr. demonstrated PN junction lasers. Drive current across a diode, confine carriers in a tiny active region, and the chip itself becomes the laser. Materials evolved from GAAS to ALGAAS, INGAASP, and GAN. But the impact was immediate. Compact, efficient sources that would become the heart of optical storage, fiber links, barcode scanners, and countless consumer devices. 1962. Q-switching, giant pulses on demand. McClung and Hellworth introduced Q-switching. Hold the cavity lossy while pumping energy into the gain medium, then snap it to high Q. The stored energy dumps in a nanosecond burst with enormous peak power, ideal for range finding, LiDAR, and nonlinear optics. Early systems used Kerr cells as fast shutters. The concept remains a workhorse for ND-YGA and other solid-state lasers. 1964. Two workhorses arrive, CO2 and ND-YAG. At Bell Labs, Kumar Patel's CO2 laser, 10.6 micrometers, exploited molecular vibrational levels for high efficiency and high CW power, perfect for cutting and welding metals and later soft tissue. In the same era, Nd:YAG, neodymium-doped yttrium aluminum garnet, 1064 nanometers, became the rugged solid-state standard. With nonlinear crystals, it delivers common harmonics, 532 nanometers green, 355 nanometers UV. Together, they formed the backbone of industrial and medical laser applications for decades. 1964. Mode locking, ultra-short pulses. Rapid modulation of the cavity or a saturable absorber locks longitudinal modes in phase, compressing energy into picosecond, femtosecond pulses. These bursts enable time-resolved spectroscopy, precision micromachining, and, decades later, frequency combs. Mode locking became a universal technique across Ti Sapphire, YB Fiber, and other platforms. 1966 to 1970. Fibers that could carry the world. Charles Kao argued that glass loss was an impurity problem that could be fixed, pointing to a future where light, not copper, would carry global communications. Corning's team, Morrow, Keck, Schultz, delivered in 1970 low-loss silica fiber, approximately 17 dB, soon 4 dB per kilometer. Long-haul links plus semiconductor lasers created the modern Internet's physical layer. Today, nearly all intercontinental traffic rides coherent light in glass. Late 1960s to 1970s, tunability and the color dial. Dye lasers, Sorokin and others, 1966, introduced broad tunability across tens of nanometers by swapping or tuning organic dyes. Spectroscopists finally had a color-sweepable source to probe molecules at their own resonances and to seed and drive nonlinear optics. Tunability set the stage for precision metrology and the later comb revolution. 1974. Lasers at the checkout. On June 26, 1974, a Wrigley's gum pack in Troy, Ohio, became the first retail item scanned by a laser barcode reader. The principle was simple. Scan a He-Ni beam across a printed code and decode the reflections, but the impact was massive. Automated pricing, inventory, and supply chain visibility for the retail world. 1969 to 1984. From copier hack to office staple. At Xerox, Gary Starkweather steered a laser across a photoconductor drum, writing charge patterns that a copier could develop with toner, the laser printer. Xerox commercialized the 9700 in the late 1970s. HP LaserJet 1984 took it mainstream. The mechanism, electrophotography plus laser scanning, defined high-quality desktop printing for decades. 1970s to 1990s, Excimer and the UV frontier. Excimer, Exceplex lasers, notably ARF at 193 nanometers, could photoablate materials with minimal heat, ideal for corneal reshaping, LASIK, and deep UV semiconductor lithography. Here, short wavelength means smaller features, so Excimers became a key step on the path to denser chips and sharper human vision. 1990s to 2000s, fiber lasers scale up. Rare earth-doped silica fibers with double-clad geometries capture pump light efficiently. The long waveguide provides excellent heat dissipation and mode control. By the early 2000s, kilowatt-class continuous wave fiber lasers were compact, reliable, and electrically efficient, swiftly displacing older sources in cutting, welding, and 3D printing. 2005. A ruler for light. Frequency combs. Using mode-locked femtosecond lasers, researchers built optical frequency combs whose evenly spaced teeth act like a ruler in frequency space. That let labs count optical cycles, tie them to microwave time standards, and build optical clocks with staggering accuracy. work recognized with the 2005 Nobel Prize. Hall and Hansch. Comtech now underpins precision spectroscopy, navigation, and timing. 2006, Blue Rate and the Blue-Violet Leap. Moving optical storage from red 650 nanometer DVDs to 405 nanometer GaN laser diodes shrank the focus spot and multiplied capacity. 25 gigabytes per layer and up. The physics is pure diffraction. Shorter wavelength plus higher numerical aperture equals tighter pits and tracks. That same diode ecosystem seeded compact projectors and lab tools. 2015. Lasers listen to space-time. The first gravitational wave detection, GW150914, used kilometer-scale interferometers illuminated by pre-stabilized 1064 nanometer ND-YAG lasers with power recycling optics. Laser frequency, amplitude, and geometry were stabilized so exquisitely that mirror motions smaller than a proton became measurable, opening a new window on the universe. Where we are now. Lasers have quietly become infrastructure. Fiber lasers do the heavy lifting on factory floors, cutting, welding, and 3D printing with clean edges and low power draw. Ultra-fast femtosecond systems trade brute heat for surgical finesse in clinics and micro-machining labs. In your pocket and car, compact diode arrays power Face ID-style depth sensing and LiDAR, mapping space in millions of dots per second. In metrology labs, frequency combs and optical clocks turn stable laser light into timekeepers precise enough to feel tiny gravity changes, setting the stage for next-gen navigation and networks. Even space is getting brighter. Laser links promise leaner, higher bandwidth communications between distant spacecraft and Earth. What's next? Near horizon. Expect lasers to shrink and converge. Integrated photonics will stitch gain, cavities, modulators, and combs onto palm-sized chips, taking today's rack-mount instruments to postage stamp scale. Eye-safer long-range LiDAR and high-average power ultra-fast sources will move from specialty gear to mainstream modules. Deep UV and new semiconductor materials will open sterilization, lithography, and novel chemistry. And while high-energy drivers still face efficiency and repetition rate hurdles, steady progress could bend laser-driven energy systems toward practicality. A novel leap, the light loom. Picture a desk device that weaves with light. Inside, a tiny ring resonator spins a microcomb that locks on-chip laser. Tap cut, and femtosecond bursts sculpt metal with no scorch. Tap scan, and LiDAR-like pulses map a part in 3D. Check turns it into a pocket spectrometer that verifies alloys or mets. At night, it syncs to an optical time feed, becoming your apartment's clock. Steady, silent, universal. It's not a gadget. It's a toolbox of beams you'll wonder how you lived without. Ready to land the plane? Let's stick the conclusion and spark fresh curiosity. Here's the twist. The most interesting chapter begins when the laser disappears, when beams stop being devices and become infrastructure. Quiet clocks in our phones, depth sensing fabric in factories, surgery that writes with time, links that turn planets into neighbors. The frontier no longer looks like a lab rack. It looks like ordinary life running on disciplined light. That shift opens stranger questions. Could a pocket optical clock remake navigation? Will microcomb chips sync entire power grids? Can high rep rate fusion drivers rewrite energy economics? Or will the biggest leap be smaller? A light loom on every desk, machining with femtosecond brushstrokes. Your turn. If you had one bet on the next super breakthrough, where would you place it? Energy, medicine, sensing, or communication? And what would you build with a beam that fits in your palm but keeps time with the universe? If this sparked anything, tell me in the comments. Which era stunned you most? The Ruby Flash, the Heat and E glow, the fiber optic internet, femtosecond surgery, LIGO's whispers, or fusion ignition? What milestone should I unpack next? Q-switching giant pulses, blue-violet diodes, frequency combs, or deep space laser links? If you know a friend who'd geek out, share this their way. If you want more like this, subscribe so the next chapter finds you. And don't stop here. There's a playlist waiting. Pick your next beam-powered rabbit hole, and I'll meet you there. Drop a quick timestamp or question you want answered in part 2.